Hello and welcome to this Global Web Index video showcasing how to use the chart builder. To access this, you can use the quick link from the homepage or the icon on the left-hand menu. Once this loads, on the left-hand side of the page you'll see the GWI survey folders, and on the right-hand side you will see your filters. Let's start by applying our filters. So firstly, if we click into audiences, we can choose our required audiences like so. We can then choose our required locations. And then finally, we can choose our required waves. In this example, we're going to look at the previous 4 waves. Once we've applied those filters, we can then choose our question by opening the panel on the left-hand side and clicking into GWI Core. In this example, we're going to look at some attitudinal data. To do this, we can click into Attitudes and Lifestyle and then Attitudes. And for this question, we're going to use the self-perceptions. At the top of the page you can see the question, and this is exactly how it's worded within the survey. So we are asking respondents, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the statements below on your perception of yourself? Before we start to interpret the data, we will need to change the options from the drop-down menu just below the question. In this example, we want to see what percentage of our audience agree with these statements, so we'll remove the bottom 3 options like so. We can then change the layout of the chart on the screen using the icons in the bottom left-hand corner. The first one allows you to change the chart type to horizontal or a data table. The next icon then allows you to choose which metrics are displayed on the screen, so you can toggle them on and off and change what's displayed on the chart like so. And then finally, you can change the sort order of those metrics. The default option is alphabetical, but you also have ascending and descending order as well. You can then start to interpret the data using the 5 key metrics on the screen. Firstly, you have the audience percentage metric. This is showing you the percentage of your target audience that match with the data point, and in this context, the data point is the attitudinal statement. So for the first example, from this we can see 86.3% of our female fashion persona aged 16 to 24 within the UK over the past 4 waves said that they somewhat or strongly agree with the statement, "It is important to me to continue to develop new skills throughout life." We can then see 80.3% of our female fashion persona 25 plus also agree with that statement. The next metric is then the data point percentage. This is showing you the contribution that your target audience makes to the total audience that match with that data point. So again, in this context, of everybody within the UK that said they agree with that selected statement, 9.3% of those people belong to the female fashion persona 16 to 24, and 29.8% belong to the female fashion 25 plus audience. The next metric is then universe. Universe shows you the projected or estimated number of real-world people that your audience represents. So this is quite similar to an opportunity or audience sizing metric. So in this example, we can see there are an estimated 2.9 million people who belong to the female fashion 16 to 24 audience that would agree with that statement, and an estimated 9.2 million that belong to the female fashion 25 plus audience. The next metric is then index. Index is essentially a likelihood or affinity metric that allows you to compare your target audience versus a base audience to see whether they are more or less likely to agree with that statement. In this example, the base audience is all internet users. You can see this in the top left-hand corner, like so. This is essentially referring to the internet population of the countries that you have selected. So in this example, we are comparing our target audiences in the UK versus the internet population in the UK. In terms of interpreting the index metric, an index of 100 is the average for that base audience. Anything above 100 is over-indexing and therefore more likely to match, and then anything below is under-indexing. So again, in the example here, we can see our female fashion 16 to 24 audience has an index of 116, and the numerical distance away from 100 is the percentage likelihood. So from this, we could say female fashion persona 16 to 24 are 16% more likely to agree with that statement compared to our base audience. The final metric is then responses. The responses metric is showing you the number of people from the panel that belong to your audience that match with the data point. So in this example, we have a sample of 2,600 people from the female fashion 16 to 24 audience that match with that data point to say they somewhat or strongly agree. Once you have loaded and interpreted a chart within the chart builder, you can then export and download the data. To do this, use the icon in the bottom right-hand corner, and from here you have two main options. You can export into image format or export the raw data into Excel. You also have the ability to save your questions as either a query or a bookmark. You can see these icons in the top right-hand corner. If you save a question as a query, this allows you to save the question with the audiences and filters applied. So when you click on this icon, you can type in a name and then select the save icon like so. Once you have done this, it will then appear on the left-hand panel under the Queries tab. You can also save a question as a bookmark, so the next icon along. The difference between a bookmark and a query is that a bookmark will only save the question. We'd recommend using this option if you find an interesting question that you want to keep referring to in the future. So again, just select the icon like so and give a name to the bookmark and then click on the save icon. Again, this will appear in the left-hand panel, but now under the Bookmarks tab. If you want to download multiple bookmarks or multiple queries, select the relevant tab and then choose the download icon like so. Select the ones you want to include and then click on download. This is a much quicker way of exporting multiple data points and questions from the platform as opposed to individually downloading them.